Chaotically Nerdy is a podcast made by nerds for nerds. This podcast is made by adults, for adults, and children with bad parents. Adult language will be used and adult situations may arise. Listener discretion is advised.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Chaotically Nerdy. This is season 2, which we didn't discuss whenever we recorded the first part of this episode, which was the Player's Handbook races. So today's episode, we're going to talk about the rest of the playable races, but we're not going to actually talk about them all because there is a lot to cover.
A lot.
If we were to cover them all, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So we kind of picked out...
Too much almost, really.
Yeah, I think we picked out too much even
Yeah.
still. But we're going to cover roughly 16 or 17 of the playable races. We will mention the other ones and kind of say where they are, but we're going to just jump right in. We'll tell you which books they're from because they have been updated multiple times. Some of these have. The main group that we're going to talk about has been updated multiple times.
If you're looking for the older versions, they can be found. They're usually labeled as Legacy.
Yep, on D&D Beyond, it is labeled as Legacy, and that will it'll actually tell you where it's from whenever you look at it, especially if you're on a computer. If you're on mobile, it's a little different. It's harder to understand sometimes. But if you see Legacy, that is the older iteration, and the newest one doesn't have anything beside it. It just has. So the ones we're going to talk about Leonin, which is from Mythic Odysseys of Theros. We're going to talk about a large majority of these are going to be from Mordecai Presents Monsters of the Multiverse, which is one of the newest books, if I remember right, and changed a lot of the races. So
Gave him a fresh coat of paint.
Yep. And those races that we're going to talk about is Eric Cochran, Asimar, all of the Genasi, or Genasi, or however you want to say it. I hate.
I absolutely know how to say that.
Yep. It never
I
matters.
believe it's officially Ganassi.
Genasi? Okay.
Genasi, okay.
I will still say Genasi, which is air, earth, fire, and water. We're also going to talk about Eladrin, the Githyanki, and Githzeri, which Githzeri is new. We've had Githyanki before, if I remember.
They were both on there.
They were both
Yeah.
new in
I think-
Mordecai's.
It's hard to remember because they're so similar.
Yeah.
I think they might have been like Gith.
And it was like a
Sub-race?
sub-race? Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I figured, but I wasn't 100%
They're
sure.
completely separate.
We will talk about Goliath again, because I think we covered that in the previous episode. We will talk about Orc, Shadar Kai. Did I say that right?
Shattered. Yes.
Yeah.
However you say it. Tortle, Water, or I already said Water Genasi, and Yuan-Ti. Those are all from Mordecai Presents. We're also going to talk about the Feral Tiefling. Good God.
Tiefling.
Yeah, yeah. It's a thing.
The TIE Fighter.
Technically, this is early in the morning for me, even though it's 2:30 in the afternoon. Night shift life. Which is from the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. And then we're also going to talk about the Warforged, which is from Eberron Rising from the Last War.
RoboCop.
RoboCop. Which probably one of my favorite races to play.
They're really cool.
So, let's start with Leonin.
It is
Because it is on the top of our list. And we'll roll the D6 to figure out who's going to tell us about Leonin. It is Ethan. Which makes the most sense because you had a intimate relationship with a Leonin.
That is a very conflated.
No,
I never
said the actual relationship. You had a undefined partnership with him.
You take one bath with a dude, and
It wasn't a
suddenly
bath.
You're in a relationship.
It was not you took a bath as in you guys went to a bathhouse together. It was he gave you a bath.
Hey, well,
And we changed your name from Hagen the Unclean.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. It's not going to help me, but I do remember him saying that it was a tongue bath.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes more
That's what
Yeah.
I'm getting at.
It was really awkward, but everyone had a good time except for the other people listening.
It was
Okay, so
being part of the party was
It was funny.
It was
the
funny,
DM.
but
it was funny as the DM.
back to the race though. So we move on from that. Leonin is it's like a race of bipedal lion people. They're very tribal. stuff like that. What do you want me to say? Just like all the stats and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, you can, which
Oh,
obviously.
yeah, that's what we did before. That's what we did
Yeah,
before.
we've
Okay.
talked about the stats with Tasha's changes. You really just add a +2 to whatever you want and a +1 to whatever you want with Tasha's. And then more so you get the features from the race.
The Leonins get their base stats. So aside from Tasha's, is +2 to Constitution, +1 to Strength. Generally speaking, they only live about as long as humans, maybe a little bit shorter. Their size is slightly larger, about a foot taller than most humans. Their speed, though, is where they come in handy. Most of these, the cat races, so there's like a couple of them, they get an extra boost to their movement speed. That's +5 to the normal speed, so it's 35.
Which is good,
They also get dark vision, just like everyone else in D&D.
basically.
They do get natural weapons with their claws, and they get better hunter instincts, so they get a automatic proficiency with athletics, intimidation, perception, or survival, which is honestly very useful. Those are 4 very useful stats you can boost there. And then Daunting Roar is the other thing that comes in that's really, really cool for them. It basically causes like a fear or frightened effect.
Yeah.
It's really neat. So it's what you expect out of a lion. It's very thematically appropriate.
And if you don't use Tasha's, what was it, con and strength?
Yeah.
Those were the 2.
Yeah.
Um,
It falls very heavily into it
Fighter.
makes a good fighter,
yeah,
it makes a good barbarian.
yes, both. All right. So now we're going to move on to Eric Cochran. Eric Cochran's, however you want to say it. It's between me and Jared. So it is me, which
That's
is
fitting.
interesting. It is fitting.
is fitting.
Because I played one.
You killed all of them.
I do. Let's not talk about Tezca.
All but one.
Bad times. Good times, but bad times. So, this is interesting because I was reading as he was talking. In Mordecai's book, it says the typical lifespan of a player character in the D&D multiverse is about a century, assuming the character doesn't meet violent ends. So it seems like all of the ones in the Monsters of the Multiverse book,
Yeah, they changed it.
They live for about a century.
Yeah.
They changed that to fit that, or they changed it again.
Everybody just
Everybody just
normalized,
lives for
basically.
about. It makes
'Cause I don't
sense
think there's any, maybe the Trugar or something.
that lives super
Yeah,
long.
like that would have lived super far before, but they changed a bunch of those to be
Well, Eladrin.
and Ladron. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
like
murder.
that
Kai.
elf
It's a little
style.
bit different.
So-
Gnomes usually live a little bit longer too.
Yep. With Eric Cochran's, they have flight as long as they aren't wearing medium or heavy armor, so they make really good monks. Barbarians, really whatever you want to play, but as long as you don't wear over medium armor, you can fly. Your walking speed is 30 feet. I believe your flight is the same. Yeah, it's equal to your walking speed, so it's 30 feet. You're a medium-sized creature. You have talons, which they changed. It used to be a D4. It is now a D6. Plus your strength modifier, which is slashing damage, obviously. You also get Wind Caller, which is new to Mordecai's. Starting at 3rd level, you can cast the Gust of Wind spell without requiring any material components, which that's all depending on your... Some people don't require them at all. Once you cast it, you can't use it again until a long rest. And you can also cast a spell using any spell slot you have, so you just know the spell if you are an Eric Cochran. Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma is your spellcasting ability, and you get to choose whenever you select the race. That's really all there is to it. It does, I believe, in the initial release, they were Dex and Wisdom,
That seems right.
because I think that's why they were really good for Monk.
Yeah.
Was I think it's +2 to Dex and +1 to Wisdom.
But the flying is so powerful, it doesn't really need anything else.
Yes, that is very accurate. And then Jarrett, since you haven't went yet, we're gonna let you go to ASMR, which I have pulled up there. You click at the top. There's traits. You were looking at it like you didn't quite.
Well,
know.
in mine, I just always go to the book. You just pulled it up on the actual thing.
Oh yeah, I didn't mess with the book,
yeah.
so I don't have to mess with finding.
So in Modern Kindness, they kind of reverted back to the original where there's no sub races anymore, right? Or there is
Yes.
sub races, yeah.
Well, I don't know with ASMR.
There isn't anymore, right?
It seems like with other ones they
Yep.
broke them down into different.
Well, before whatever book they came out in, I don't remember. There's 3 sub races.
Yes.
But now they went back to where it was in the DMG, where it was just one singular race. Anyway, they have a resistance to necrotic and radiant damage, which is
So good.
really, really good. They have their shroud, or they're not the shroud. They have the celestial revelation, which is kind of takes the place of their subclass, where you get to pick like a different like power up ability. Like
Yeah,
kinda-
you got like a different ability.
transformation. Yeah. So you have necrotic shroud, which you become like this dark, ghostly figure with wings. You must see, and it's a frighten effect. And I think all these deal damage when you use it when you hit them with attack. I believe do like an extra proficiency bonus of damage. Then there's radiant consumption, which is you shed 10 foot of bright light, and then radiant soul. You get 2 spectral luminous wings, and you have a flying speed equal to your walking speed. So it kind of just lets you do whatever. Like everybody else, they have dark vision. They also have healing hands, which
That's something I didn't mention. Air Cochrans do not.
oh yeah,
That
there's a
don't.
few that don't.
Yeah, which is odd to me because you would think bird people.
They're not owl people. They're like
Yeah, they're not
falcon people.
owlins.
Fine.
Healing hands, which got a direct upgrade. It went from just 1 point per level to you get a D4 is equal to your proficiency bonus. I mean, unless you get like 6 D4 is going to probably be more useful than. And
Yeah.
I think also healing hands, you might have to use all of them. I can't remember. Like it might have been like a one shot thing. I don't remember. And you also learn the light cantrip, and your speed and size are normal.
All right, so let's move on to Air Ganassi. I don't care how you say it.
We're already on
I
Air
won't.
Ganassi.
I won't
Or
judge
no,
it.
we're at ASMR. Sorry.
Come on, man. Where you at? Hey, guess what? It's you again. All right, I already got the traits pulled up for you.
Like everybody else, they have dark vision.
Woo!
You get resistance to lightning damage.
That
You have.
I know that doesn't come up a lot, but
It's situational.
But when it is useful, it's very useful.
I feel like if you're gonna fight players, if you were
Oh.
gonna make a
Or blue dragons.
antagonist,
dragons,
or blue dragon,
Like,
if you're gonna
anytime
make,
it comes up, it's like super dangerous.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
You have mingle with wind, which you learn the shocking grass cantrip at 3rd level. You learn feather fall, and at 5th level you learn levitate. And you get to choose intelligence, wisdom, charisma when you select this.
which is another new
Yeah,
thing.
they changed it to everything is choose one of the 3 mental stats.
Yep.
To figure out
That
your
way you
spellcasting.
didn't have to.
Well, that way, in case if
Mix and
you're
match,
a
basically.
wizard, but back in the day, if you were a wizard but you had a race that had a charisma thing, you had to keep 2 separate spell DCs. Now you can just all have it in one. It's just more
Yeah,
of like
it's
a
just-
bookkeeping thing.
Yeah, keep everything tidy.
You have 35 walking speed, and you can hold your breath indefinitely while you're not incapacitated, and your size is normal.
Hold your breath indefinitely. That is good.
and they have hair now.
That is
Yeah, they
true.
didn't have hair before.
The pitcher does have a little bit of white hair.
This is also like my next player character race.
It's gonna be
Oh, you're gonna be an
Ganassi?
air?
Yeah.
Is it gonna be air, or are you gonna choose like a
Air.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know because used to they were all like
one Ganassi's.
yes, you were one
Race.
Ganassi race, and then they were sub races.
Yeah.
Now they're their own race.
Yeah.
Hey, it's you. Why don't you take us to Earth?
Earth.
Yeah,
All right.
I mean we're on there already, but
That's fair. That's fair. Hey.
What?
Let me see it.
oh well, damn! I didn't know you needed it for me too.
It's not working.
Fine.
It's not working.
Well, I already had Aladdin pulled up for me.
All right.
I like
all
to
right.
read ahead.
Earth Genasi, very similar style-wise to the Air Genasi. We just covered that. They have dark vision as well. I think all Genasi
Yeah.
do.
Yes. We say yes. And
They
then
do
one
have
of them won't,
Earthwalk. Earthwalk is
they all do.
it negates difficult terrain.
which can be beneficial.
Yeah, it can be. It doesn't come up a lot, but when it comes up, it's like really annoying. So, they also have a free cantrip Blade Ward, which is really nice, but it's also
It's an action.
it's okay. They also get Pass Without Trace, which is a very useful spell. It's,
very useful.
Some might say OP.
yeah, and I don't think they get a
Plus
whole lot
10.
else. It also works out the same way with the intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. I really don't think they get anything else. They just get all the same things. Other
Normal size, normal speed.
yeah. just basically a human, but
Earth.
earthy. I've
Yes.
met that.
And then that takes me into taking us into Eladrin, which is the Elves of the Feywild. Wasn't it Will Wheaton? Didn't he play?
Way back in the day.
Yeah,
Yes.
like way back in the day,
what was
played in
his name?
Eladrin.
Oh, what is this character? I forget.
I-
The one that died in acid, right?
Yeah, I was really happy. I can't remember his name.
But yeah, he was in Eladrin.
Okay, so like them, like everybody else, they get dark vision. The Eladrins can see it out to 60 feet. I believe everybody else is 30 typically. Great. It's 60?
It's 60.
It's 60. The extended dark
They
vision
changed
is
it.
120.
It's
Oh,
always
okay.
been 60.
I could have swore it was 30.
It's always been 60.
Alrighty then. They get Fey ancestry, which is very common with elves in general. You have advantage on saving throws you make to avoid or end the charmed condition on yourself. They have Fey Step, which is as a bonus action you can magically teleport up to 30 feet, which is Misty Step.
Did they take off the not being affected by magical sleep?
I haven't seen it yet. Doesn't mean that it's not there.
Interesting.
So you can use the Fey Step equal to a number of times of your proficiency bonus and regain all expended uses whenever you take a long rest.
that's another change in
More kinds.
Mordecai is they put a lot of things on
Proficiency bonus instead of like
well, a lot of them like I believe they updated the Dragonborn in this. I think I want to say they did. I want to say they updated it, but I can't remember.
they updated it at some point because I think I remember seeing that it was updated.
Or maybe they
but I
just
don't
did it.
remember.
Maybe it's when they did the Fizzbands treasury thing and they put those in there. But they did the same thing where they put like the dragon breath actually on proficiency times long rest.
Yeah.
Once per short rest or something like that.
Gotcha. So also with Eladrin, when you reach 3rd level, your Fey Step gains an additional effect based on your season. So you get to choose a different season. You get to choose autumn, winter, spring, or summer. If you choose autumn, immediately after you use your Fey Step, up to 2 creatures of your choice that you can see within 10 feet of you must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw or be charmed for 1 minute, or until someone deals damage to them. If you choose winter, one creature of your choice that you can see within 5 feet of you before you teleport must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw or be frightened of you until the end of your next turn. If you choose spring, you can touch one willing creature within 5 feet of you. That creature then teleports instead of you, appearing in an unoccupied space of your choice that you can see within 30 feet. That is fucking that's so good. That could be so good.
Bonus action dimension door.
Yeah,
I mean,
for 30.
throwing people off of cliffs.
Yeah. Does it not say anything about willing or anything in that?
Give me a second. Yeah, it says willing. It says you can touch
okay.
one willing creature.
But it's still good for like emergency evac.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Like run up to a down person.
like a caster
Yeah.
or something and throw them out of the fight. Yeah.
And then summer, the last option, is each creature of your choice that you can see within 5 feet of you takes fire damage equal to your proficiency bonus, which
The least cool.
least cool, but if you just looking to deal some damage, pretty good. Because it's just you choose them.
Yeah.
You're just like here's some damage, which is
It's only going to be somewhere between 2 and 6 damage. So
yeah. I mean, fair enough.
and everything has fire resistance pretty much.
Like
Good
all
shit.
the elf races, they have keen senses, which is proficiency in perception. Walking speed is 30. They have trance, so they only need to you finish a long rest in 4 hours if you spend them in a trance like meditation. And that's all for them. So then the next one we will go to is the Fire Ganassi. And it's me again. It's funny how that's working out.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, but the Eladrin was missing the charm and sleep.
Well,
It,
has
it
a
did,
charm,
yeah,
but
there
it
was,
doesn't have the
it has
sleep.
charm. It doesn't have sleep.
Doesn't have sleep.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's not immune to sleep.
Yeah, we might want to look at like the sea elf or something. See if they did that to all the elves.
They might have.
They might have been getting annoyed with that.
I'll take a look after this. So with the Fire Ganassi, of course, Dark Vision, you have resistant to fire damage, which is probably the most common type of
That
damage.
and poison are the 2 most common types of damage.
They get Reach to the Blaze, which is, the Produce Flame cantrip. Starting at 3rd level, you can cast Burning Hand spells with this trait. And starting at 5th level, you can also cast the Flame Blade spell without material components.
Ooh, that's a neat way to get Flame Blade out of the druid list.
Yeah. Once you cast it, you can't do it again until a long rest, and you can cast with whatever you want, as always, as they've changed it to. Your walking speed is 30 feet. And then we will go to Githyanki. That is Ethan. Is yours working now? Okay.
Yeah. Githyanki are really both weird and interesting. They are essentially very elf-like, but they are like alien as well. So they're just a quick overview of their backstory. They're supposed to be a race of people that were taken captive by Illithids,
Yep.
mind flayers, and then tortured and turned into this other race, and then they broke free or won their freedom somehow. Another
Which is one of the big story points of Baldur's Gate 3.
yes,
Because
that's
you're-
why I'm kind of but they're like interplanar warriors who are fighting against the Illithids, basically one of the big bads. But they are also interesting with like their race itself. They do have a normal walking speed. They're medium sized. They are humanoid type, but they also have astral knowledge, where they can mystically access a reservoir of experiences of entities connected to the astral plane. So they have like a proficiency with checks involving that. And then Githyanki psionics. So that's another thing about the Githyanki is something that they've gained from having so much contact with the Illithids, who are basically telekinetic, powerful
Yeah.
creatures. Is they've gained a measure of psionic power, which that just means like mind powers, like Elle from Stranger Things.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I know that. I just, my brain never made the connection. I mean, it did, but you forget about it.
Well, even season 3, there they do make season 2
Yeah.
and 3, they do make that connection of the mind flayer on there.
Yeah.
Anyway, they do get the access to Mage Hand, but it is invisible when they use it. They also get the jump spell and Misty Step. I think that is it. They also have resistance to psychic damage because they have big brain powers.
All right. And then, Jarrett, take us into Githzeri, which I believe is very simple.
Yeah, like I don't think you mentioned, but the Gith were one race, right? And they broke off, they splintered into two different races.
Factions.
Yeah, factions into Githyanki and Githzerai. And they are at war, or like
They hate each other.
they hate each other. And like the Githyanki like try and like capture the are they like more like
The Githyanki are very, they're very warlike.
Yeah.
They're very violent people. They're much more like strength is power. And then the Githzerai
they're like-
are like spiritual
Yeah.
almost, and they're spiritual in the way that they handle their psionic powers.
So they also have psionic, but theirs is they have Mage Hand like the Githyanki, and theirs is also invisible. But their higher level spells are different. They can cast at 3rd level Shield, and at 5th level just Heck Talk. That's really good.
Yeah. I mean, having
Free
shield,
shield
is that once per long rest?
Yeah, you can cast each of those once per long rest.
Gotcha.
But that's the thing. If you have spell slots,
You can still
ca-
use
yeah.
it,
that's
which
the,
is
that's
great.
That's the big thing.
Yeah.
So if you're a cleric or a
Wizard or
well, if you have wizard, I would hope you'd have shield.
yeah, but now you don't have to take it because you get
You
it
don't have to take
inherently.
it.
I know it's probably like low hanging fruit, but like every time I hear the spell detect thoughts,
You think of
I think of thoughts.
THOTS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would you need that? You can always tell when they are, where they are.
Oh shit. They're easy to find. I mean, just
They
look
have-
on OnlyFans.
They have a mental discipline feature, which they gives them advantage on saving throws to end or avoid being charmed or frightened. Situational could be kind of useful.
Yeah.
They also have psychic resistance, so they are resistant to psychic damage because big brain.
Big brain.
No,
Also, they're green.
they're green. Yeah, like a very light.
It's like an
Yeah,
orcish type
yeah. I was
green.
gonna say
Yeah.
it's like Warcraft orcish
Yeah.
type color.
Yeah, it's like the fell from
Yeah.
Warcraft.
Normal speed, normal size.
Okay.
But
You might as well hold on to that because you may get to go again. Nope, it's me. I will take us into Goliath, and which we've talked about Goliath before. It is you are humanoid. You are a little giant, so you have proficiency in the athletic skill, and you count as one size larger when determining your carrying capacity, which, depending on your DM, may or may not matter. You have Mountain Born. You have resistance to cold damage, and you also naturally acclimate to high altitudes, even if you've never been to one. This includes elevations above 20,000 feet. Don't know how that would really come into play.
there's like some rules in the DMG for like extreme climates.
Gotcha.
You have to make like con saves and stuff like that.
That
Okay.
the 20,000 feet thing. If you're wondering how you're ever going to get that high, there are like
Weed.
I mean,
Well, the like cloud giants have cities that float in the
yeah,
sky.
or like
Yeah.
really
Not
tall
cool.
mountain.
They are medium size. Their walking speed is 30 feet, and they have stone's endurance, which is you can supernaturally draw on unyielding stone to shrug off harm. When you take damage, you can use your reaction to roll a d12, add your constitution modifier to the number rolled, and reduce the damage by that total. And you can use this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. And then you get them all back after a long rest.
That's
They
a
do-
direct upgrade. 'Cause
Yeah.
It used to be once per short rest, long rest. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But
Which, whenever you get things that are once per long rest, they feel so underpowered. These changes are all good, I think. They don't have dark vision, one of the few that don't. And then let's see who is going to take us into Orc, which is interesting because we have Orc and then it's Jarrett. We have half Orc, which is in the player's handbook.
yeah, they have adrenaline rush.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
You can take the dash action as a bonus action, and you can use it a number of times if you're equal to your proficiency bonus.
Which is good.
That's really good for like your barbarians and stuff like that.
Yeah, that need to get
Need to
up there
in the-
into the fight.
into the fight.
Punch!
You have dark vision. You have powerful build, so your count is one size larger. Like Tyler said, that depends on your DM.
Yeah. I don't think we don't use,
I would use it in very niche circumstances.
yeah.
Um,
Like if you're trying to carry a cannon.
yes,
Ethan.
yes.
Ballista. Sorry.
Ballista.
Ballista. You have
I love that campaign.
one of my favorite traits, which they share with half orcs, relentless endurance. Which I think they used to not have this. The orcs.
Yeah.
And I think they got it because it was really dumb.
Gotcha.
But they have you drop to 0, you're not killed. You instead res right back up to 1, and then it's once per long rest. But it's really good. It's so good.
That would only thing that could make that better is if it was equal to your proficiency bonus. But
Then
then it would be OP.
Then it'd be broken.
Yep.
Normal size, normal speed.
And then Ethan, why don't you take us into Shadar-kai? Shadar-kai.
This is fitting because I am literally about to start playing one online tonight.
Interesting.
Yeah. Shadar-kai are elves, but they are they're like the mere opposite of Eladrin. Eladrin are from the Fae. Shadar-kai are from the Shadowfell, which is just the shadow realm underneath in the cycle.
The mirror.
Yeah. It's not the upside down.
The mirror.
Totally is. But
Totally.
they're just basic elves for the most part, for their basic things. They get their medium size, the regular walking speed. They are humanoid, but they're also considered elves, obviously. And they have the blessing of the Raven Queen. It is as a bonus action, you can magically teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space. You can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, like most of the other changes that they've had. And then starting at 3rd level, you also gain resistance to all damage when you teleport using this trait. All damage.
That's strong.
All damage.
And during that time, you appear ghostly and translucent. They have dark vision, not superior dark vision, but it's dark vision, 60 feet. The Fae ancestry, like all elves, they have the resistance to charms or advantage against charms. They have keen senses with the perception skill, and they have resistance to necrotic damage. And they have the trance the feature as well. So they're interesting. They're like the Shadowcry are like the edgy elves. I mean, since the Drow can no longer be edgy, the Shadowcry are taking the place.
Gotcha.
Should I say dark elves or Drow? I don't know which one's derogatory now.
I don't
They
think it
changed
matters.
it to dark elf
Drow then.
in the D&D app. It's no longer drow. They're dark elves.
Gotcha. And then so next up is Turtle. Ethan, take us into the turtle people.
Turtle people. All right.
Turtle.
Well, obviously, these are made to be similar to the Turtle Master on Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah,
Right?
I guess. Yeah, you could say that, or for turtles in a half shell, I guess. But
There's a lot of instances where turtle people, bipedal turtles, come into play in like a lot of stuff, and that's really what they're made to be like. They're a very long-lived race that is turtles. They're tortoises, really, but they are
Who doesn't look at a tortoise and go, that's a turtle.
They are either medium or small. They can choose. Their walking speed is 30 feet. I would have thought that would have been a lot slower.
Yeah, they should be like 25.
Yeah. They do have claws, though. I didn't know turtles had claws
Yeah,
personally.
They dig.
That's true. That makes sense now.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
We all have our flaws.
They can hold their breath for up to 1 hour. That's what it says. Did that change?
Me as a
No,
turtle,
I think
just
that was right. I think it was always like
right.
that.
me as a turtle, just running around holding my breath for 1 hour at a time for no
Wait,
reason.
maybe it did because I feel like
I think it was much longer.
Well, Logan literally just held his breath for a week.
Well, it was like 4 or 5 days. Yeah. I think they changed it because it used to be like having to do with your constitution modifier or something
Probably.
like that.
Here, you keep talking, and I will look that up
All right.
because I will look underneath the turtle package.
The claws are pretty nice though. It brings it up to your melee strikes without a weapon or 1d6.
You can hold your breath for up to 1 hour at a time.
Maybe you're just going up submarine style. Being like,
But as we expect from turtles, they have a shell and they get natural armor. So their DC is with you can't wear light armor, medium armor, or heavy armor additional to this effect, but it is 17. So it's like almost like plate armor, like full plate armor.
really good for wizards.
Yeah. To just
And they have natural intuition. I'm assuming that's because they're really old. But they get an additional proficiency with some skills. So animal handling, medicine, nature, perception, stealth, survival. And then they get an additional effect with their shell defense. They can kind of crouch down and they get extra benefit.
almost pull yourself into your shell.
Yeah.
So there's less of you to hit.
Yeah. Your home is always with you.
All right. And then we're going to go to Water Genasi. It's me. So with the Water Genasi, you have resistant to acid damage. You can breathe air and water, so you're amphibious, which can be beneficial depending on if you're in water. They get Call to the Wave, which is the Acid Splash cantrip. Starting at 3rd level, you can cast the Create or Destroy Water spell. And starting at 5th level, you can also cast the Water Walk spell without requiring material component. Once you cast Create or Destroy Water, Create or Destroy Water or Water Walk with this trait, you can't cast that spell again until you finish a long rest, and then you can use spell slots. They are humanoid. They have dark vision, medium size, and they walk for 30 feet per round. And then Jarrett will take us into Yuan-Ti.
Like everybody else, they got dark vision. Because you're lame if you don't have dark vision.
Eric Cochran.
Just
Poor guys.
They have advantage on saving throws against spells. It's really fucking broken.
Period.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's no modifier to that. It's all spells.
Just any.
Yep. They have poison resilience, so they have advantage on saving throws against poison and resistance to poison damage. They have serpentine spell casting, so they learn the poison spray cantrip. They can cast animal friendship an unlimited number of times, and they can cast suggestion once per long rest with intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. They have you can choose your size, either medium or small, and they have normal walking speed of 30 feet.
Gotcha.
They're still really, really fucking OP.
Yeah, they're really OP.
Yeah.
Snaky ladies.
Used to, it was the Yuan-Ti Pureblood. Now it's
Yeah.
just Yuan-Ti. I think they're meant to be the same thing. I don't think it matters.
It just
Like,
they're trying to
thematically,
differentiate
yeah.
between the Yuan-Ti and the Yuan-Ti.
Oh yeah, we didn't explain like
abominations.
Yeah, you're like a snake person, kind of.
Yeah, they have
know why I did that.
snake-like features like Voldemort.
Yeah, unless you're like one of the abominations or things where you have
Would
like
they
an
actually
actual
have,
snake
like-
head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which I
like
think
a-
are just monsters, correct? Like they're not playable races.
Yeah.
They're
That's
like
why they differentiate the pure blood. So that was like
they're trying to
Yeah.
specify the
Yeah.
difference between them and the abominations.
Yeah.
Literally what they're called.
Gotcha. And then we'll see who's going to take us into Feral Tiefling. It's me. So, Feral Tiefling, this comes from the Sword Coast Adventure, guys, so it is set up a little bit different.
it's the lone survivor.
Yeah.
Everything else, this and Purple Dragon Knight are the only two things in that book that have not gotten updates. I think.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
So your ability score increase, which again, if you're using Tasha's, doesn't matter. Their intelligence increases by 1 and dexterity increases by 2. They age the same rate as humans. They get dark vision. They have Hellish resistance, which is resistance to fire damage. You get Infernal Legacy, which is, the Thaumaturgy cantrip. When you reach 3rd level, you can cast Hellish Rebuke. And when you reach 5th level, you can cast Darkness. You can read, speak, and write Common and Infernal. They're medium. The walking speed is 30 feet.
I think that was there not a winged tiefling variant?
It is a variant. I was getting to that.
I didn't remember if it was a part of that class.
Yeah, it
baked in or not.
There's actually quite a few more variant tieflings.
Yeah, they're all.
Yeah, there's variant tieflings, and since not all tieflings are the blood of Asmodeus, some have traits that differ from those in the player's handbook. So you can choose Feral, which obviously we just talked about a little bit. Rather than having the physical characteristics described in the player's handbook, choose a 1d4 plus 1 of the following features: small horns, fangs, sharp teeth, forked tongue, cat-like eyes, 6 fingers on each hand, goat-like legs, cloven hooves, a forked tail, leathery or scaly skin, red or dark blue skin. You can cast no shadow or reflection or exude a smell of brimstone. So with the variant tiefling, you can choose... you get Devil's Tongue. The Vicious Mockery cantrip. At 3rd level, you can cast Charm Person as a 2nd level spell. At 5th level, you can cast the Enthrall spell once per long rest. I don't know if that will be changed eventually to match everything else with the proficiency bonuses.
I don't know. I think because they're like baked into the actual devil and demon lords of Forgotten Realms.
Well, they have different versions depending on which bloodline they're from. This or
I think because they're literally tied into those and they're baked into the canon, this may not ever get an update.
Okay, gotcha. And then you also get Hellfire, which once you reach 3rd level, you can cast Burning Hand spell once per day as 2nd level spell. And they are winged, so you get bat-like wings sprouting from your shoulder blades, and you have a flying speed of 30 as long as you aren't wearing heavy armor, which is a little bit better than Eric Cochran's because you can still wear medium armor and fly. And then for our last one that we're going to really break down and talk about, we're going to go to Warforged, and it is Ethan.
Robots. I mean... Come
on, Seinfeld.
What's wrong with that?
Come on, Seinfeld.
What's up with that?
Yeah, that's what I wanted him to say.
Yeah. So Warforged are not on my list here. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Well, I can read it. All right.
Said it's not on here.
Warforged are really cool. So they're basically a magic robot. They're basically run off of magical energies. And they have their own personalities. They're not just AI. They have their own personality. Wouldn't say soul, but they do get a Constitution score increase of 2, and they get to choose another one of increase by 1. I don't think they have any sort of limitation on age, but they do normally only last up to 20 or 30 years.
They like to rust.
It's they have problems breaking down. Other than that, they cannot be affected by aging spells either. They do have a set of resistances because they are constructs. They are not humanoid. Yeah. So they have advantage on saving throws against being poisoned, and they have resistance to the damage from poison as well. They don't need to eat, drink, breathe. They're immune to any and all diseases, and they don't sleep.
Which is so good.
They are immune to being put to sleep.
Yep.
They do have a integrated protection, which is their body, which is built, usually it's out of stone, can be out of metal, but they have +1 to their armor class base. Let's see here. Their armor is usually incorporated into their bodies somehow. It's not just something they wear. It's usually something that they put on, into their skin and integrated directly into their bodies.
Do they have limitations saying they can't wear armor?
I don't think so.
I don't remember them saying, but it's just
you can don only armor with which you have proficiency. To don armor other than a shield, you must incorporate it into your body. Yeah. So you have to. You must spend 1 hour removing it if you're going to remove it, that's about the same as normal anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But it cannot be removed against your will either. Yeah. So, let's see. They're usually of normal size, even though there are variants in the lore.
Giant robot.
Yeah, so giant robot.
Iron giant.
Their base speed is normal, so it's 30 feet. And then they, when you take a long rest, which is called Sentry's Rest, you must spend at least 6 hours in an inactive, motionless state rather than sleeping. Switch off.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Shut
There's not a
down.
lot of
Reboot.
other things. There's like a lot of other options that are in like third party stuff, but I'm assuming they're going to get a reboot soon.
Probably.
Who knows?
Get it? Reboot.
Yeah.
Haha. Nice.
Probably to incorporate other things directly into the body. You, Tyler, had a Warforged character.
Yes, and it was a blood hunter, which,
Disturbing.
yeah.
Rain on blood.
Well, it was more like
Is that disturbing, or is his name more disturbing?
listen.
What was its name?
Murder. Because as I was reading about Warforged, it's like they are often named about what they're built to do. He was built to murder.
He was a killbot.
Bender.
Exactly.
Clamps.
Oh, I love Futurama. All right, so and we're not going to break them down. We're just going to mention the other races and where you can find them if you're looking for them in a book. So there is the Orc of Exandria, which is in the Explorer's Guide to Wildemount. There is the Lineage races, which is Dampier, Hexblood, and Reborn. You can find those in Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. There is Owlin, which is in Strixhaven, a curriculum of chaos. You have the Kalistar, or wait a minute, I've missed so many of the Mordecai monsters.
Well, you want to do like those and then do all the...
Do the other ones and then go back to...
Mordecai?
Yeah, that makes more sense. And then there's Kalistar, which is the Eberron rising from the last war. The Orc of Eberron, which is from the same book. Then you have Loxodon, which is elephant people from Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. You have the Simic hybrid from the same book. You have the Vidalcan, which is... Did I say that right?
I have no idea. No idea.
Vidalcan.
Vidalcan. I don't play
That's what it
Magic.
looks like to me.
Vedelkin.
Okay, whatever. Again, from
whichever.
Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. You have Verdan, which is from Acquisitions Incorporated. I don't know if that's technically official content.
It is.
It is?
It
Okay.
is, totally is.
And then you have, I'm going to butcher this name. Like, I don't already struggle with enough. The Lokatha.
Yep.
From Lokatha Rising, which is not official content. And then you have Grung, which is one Grung above. Which, when you look at images of those two, they look very similar.
Well, one is a fish person and one
One's
is a frog person.
Well, the way they design the images look very, very similar.
It may have been the same person doing the designing.
Might have been. But back to Mordekainen.
Morning, Kanan.
Mordekainen. Monsters of the Multiverse. The ones that we didn't mention is Bugbear, Centaur, Changeling, Deep Gnome, Duragar, which they made changes. That's why they're in here. Fairy, Furbolg, the Goblin, the Harengon, which is Ethan's favorite race, Hobgoblin.
It is not.
You don't like Lola Bunny?
Oh, no.
You don't like Lola. Oh, that brings back some memories. Kobold, Lizard Folk, Minotaur, Satyr, Sea Elf, Shifter, Tabaxi, which we didn't talk about, but is very good for monks, and Triton.
The losers.
Aquaman.
Aquaman.
I would have to say that there are a lot of nice ones that we didn't cover.
But that's just a time thing.
It's a time
It was,
thing.
do we want to break it down into 2 episodes and cover the ones that we don't really want to cover?
2 and probably 3.
Why not?
We broke through this
Why
pretty
not
quick.
let the people decide if the
That's
people
true.
listening?
You want a part 3?
Yeah.
You want a part 3
if
to
you
the
want a part
races?
3 where we talk about them, get on our
Or-
Discord and let us know.
If you want us to take a deeper dive on some of the races, let us
We
know.
can get into
Yeah.
maybe some of the lore, or even make. Eventually, I think we'll build a character and like go through the whole process of building one. So back to the D&D questions. Ethan, do you remember the particular person that gave you this question, or was it just one that you came up with yourself?
I want to say it was Zach Thompson again. So
The same person
one.
that
Yeah.
gave the previous question. So the question of the day is your last character. You have to pick. They get a soundtrack. What is the song that is going to be the soundtrack? Obviously, we're not going to play any for copyright reasons, but you can look them up as we name them. So, do you have one in your head, Ethan?
I did when we talked about it before. I totally
But can't
forgot.
remember it now.
Yeah.
Jared, do you have one? Okay. I'll roll the magical D6 and we'll see If it lands on Ethan, he has to make something up on the spot. It did not. It landed on me. So, as we've talked about before, my last character was Korth. I had to think about his name. You could not understand a fucking word he said. He was a divination wizard with a bit of a god complex. He didn't really let it out. So with that, as someone who couldn't, sometimes you can't understand them. They speak really fast. Rap god.
I figured it was Eminem.
That.
When you said you couldn't understand, I'm like, is it Eminem?
Yep, 100%. Eminem's rap god. That is his what is playing in his head every time he does anything.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I don't hate it.
Literally thought about this morning, and I was like, "That's perfect."
Yeah.
And it's Ethan. had to
I
think
hate
about
you
the
so much. I still can't remember. It's Rex Knackles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I talked about him before. He's a deep known bard, but he's just kind of a sleazebag. So sleazebag songs. I can't think of what I had before. It was really good though. It fit perfectly. But he's also like a trainer.
Yeah.
So I guess for now I'll just go with Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah.
I fucking knew it was going to be that.
Either that or the Weird Al version, which is Riley Kaiser. Just because he's just a douchebag.
Okay, and that takes us to Jarrett. What's your
Mine
fancy
was,
theme song?
My character was Valena Starshield. She was a blood elf wizard in Ethan's custom World of Warcraft campaign. She's a basic white bitch. She likes her some Taylor Swift.
I do. I remember that now. That
So,
it was. I don't even think you
mine-
named a song, did
Well,
you?
I picked no. I think I might have hypothesized one, but I picked one. White Horse.
What? I don't think I could tell you what that song is.
You know, one of her early ones. It's kind of a countryish song.
Gotcha. I will look that up.
Doing a deep dive on
post.
the Taylor Swift stuff.
Well, actually, it's probably more like White Horse Taylor's version, which is the updated one.
Gotcha.
But yeah, she's a basic white bitch.
Basic white bitch. All right. So, with all that, that covers the second part of the races. Like we said, if you want a third part, join us in our Discord. You can find links to that in the anchor.fm/chaotically nerdy. Had to think about that because it's been a minute since we recorded. So you can find links to our Facebook page there. You can find links to our Discord as well. And Discord's probably the best way to see us. Jarrett is our resident lurker.
Yep.
He just kind of sees everything we post, but doesn't interact whatsoever. Not an emoji reaction, not a comment, nothing. But me and Ethan are pretty active. We do comment quite often.
You're
And-
a lot more up on it.
well, I feel like I started a lot of stuff. That's from smoking, sir.
Well, vaping.
Well, the smoking,
Smoking into vaping probably didn't help.
it's bad for you.
Okay.
But you're an adult. So thank you for joining us on another episode of Chaotically Nerdy. Oh my God, that was so loud. And we hope to see you on another episode. And peace out. That's our name. Why wouldn't it be chaotic?
What an episode!